Hello and welcome to the NJACAC Virtual College Exploration Program. We've got Arcadia University today, but just a couple of quick announcements before we get started. So for everyone in the audience, you can press on the Q&A button and ask your questions of our presenters at any point in time. Your camera and microphone are off, so your panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many sessions happening, so you can check out njacac.org/virtual-fair to sign up for more sessions. Without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the Arcadia University team. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for taking some time to be with us today. My name is Devin Miller. I'm one of the admissions counselors at Arcadia University, and I'm also an alum of the university, so I have a little bit of a student perspective as well as a staff perspective, but I also have three of our wonderful students with me today, who I'm going to turn it over to in a second to introduce themselves as well. But we're going to just do a little bit of an overview about Arcadia and hopefully shine some light onto the Arcadia community, and who better to hear it from than some of our students. So I'm going to share my screen in a minute with a brief presentation, but I'm going to let our students do a lot of the talking about their experiences. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to them to introduce themselves. Rende, would you mind introducing yourself first?
Sure thing. Hi, everyone. My name is Rende. I am a senior at Arcadia. I am studying English, and I have a minor in gender and sexuality studies. I've been pretty involved with campus life. I've been an ambassador. I've been on the planning team for orientation, and I'm also a peer mentor. So I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you. Chris, do you want to go next?
Sure. My name is Chris. I'm also a senior. I am a graphic design major with a minor in marketing from Sewell, New Jersey. And I'm quite involved on campus as well. I'm a student athlete, so I run cross country and indoor and outdoor track and field. I'm an orientation leader and ambassador as well, along with Rende. I've also participated in our student government organization, as well as helped out with our first year study abroad experience program.
Great, thank you. And then Shannon.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon. I'm from Whiting, New Jersey. I'm a biology major on the pre-physician assistant track. I'm a junior. I'm also very involved at Arcadia. I'm an ambassador along with Chris and Rende. And then I'm also involved in Arcadia FTK for the kids. It's an all-night dance marathon where we raise money for Penn State Children's Hospital and the Four Diamonds.
Great. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. Just go through a brief presentation with you all. Like I said, I'm going to let our students kind of hop in throughout. If you do have any questions, feel free to chat them into us through the Q&A, and we'll try and get to those at the end of the presentation. But definitely feel free to interact with us as you can. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Arcadia, we're located in Glenside, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb just outside of Philadelphia. You can see we do have a beautiful castle on our campus. And though because of COVID, Arcadia is virtual right now, we are hoping that by the time you would be joining us, we would be back on campus. We are starting a sort of phased reopening of campus in the next few months and throughout the spring. So hopefully, regardless of where you end up going to college, that will likely be back to somewhat of a sense of normalcy after that. But you can kind of get an idea of what campus looks like from here, and I have some other pictures throughout just to kind of give you a little bit of a feel for it. It's a really beautiful campus. But I want to start off by kind of talking about our academics at Arcadia and what that kind of means as an Arcadia student. So Arcadia is a little bit of a smaller institution, which means that we really emphasize a more personalized learning experience for our students. Because we only have about 2,100 undergraduate students and we have a wide variety of things that students are studying, over 65 fields of study, it really allows for us to keep our classes smaller for students. We only have an average class size of about 14 to 16 students. You're never going to really be in a class larger than about 30 or so students, depending on the course. So it really allows for us to build a little bit more community, allows you to get to know your peers as well as the professors in your class a little bit better. And I'm wondering if the students, can you talk about a little bit about maybe what it's like academically within your specific major, or if you have any sort of highlights of an Arcadia academic experience. Maybe we can start with you, Chris.
Yeah, so as an art major, like nothing is more important than like being able to like thoroughly critique your work with your professors and your fellow classmates. And so this small classroom scenario is incredibly beneficial. Like as an art major, I've actually had classes like within my major as small as like 6 students, which is absolutely perfect because it allows me to get to really like know my classmates super well if I didn't already. And we're able to spend a lot of time on like each other's work, so we're able really like make it the best as best as we possibly can. So like that has definitely been like a great help to me over these past 4 years, and especially now going into senior year when we're thinking about senior thesis projects.
Great, thank you. Rende or Shannon, do you have anything you want to add? Go ahead, yeah.
I mean, I guess I've had pretty similar experiences to Chris as an English major. We do have a lot of discussion-based work. I am in the literature focus as opposed to creative writing. And so I also have some pretty small classes, but that does it allows for a lot of opportunity for you to share your ideas with your peers and also receive feedback. So.
Great. Shannon, is there anything you wanted to add too?
I'm just touching on the more personalized experience. Being a biology major, you do find yourself in a bit of a larger classroom setting than some majors, but it's very nice to be able to just like speak one-on-one with your professor because most of the time their offices are located either down the hall or right across from the classroom. And even in the lab setting, they don't just leave you there to do the lab by yourself. They're right there next to you, helping you throughout the whole thing.
Awesome, thank you all. I wanted to just kind of touch on a few things that were mentioned by our students as well. So I think both Chris and Rende in both of their majors, there's some different concentrations that students can choose from. So that sort of goes back to the fact that we have about 65 fields of study. It incorporates in a lot of our majors the flexibility to sort of design a little bit more of your own path and kind of focus your studies a little bit more down an area of interest. So for example, in our English major, students can focus on literature or creative writing, or even earn a secondary education certification through that track. Through our art majors, our studio art majors, we have about 8 different concentrations that students can choose from in there, depending on an area of focus that you might want to specialize in. And even within our science majors like biology, for Shannon, we have a lot of different pre-professional programs. So if you're interested in physical therapy or physician assistant or forensic science, you can study all of those tracks while you're doing a biology major. So there's a lot of different ways at Arcadia that you can kind of study what you're interested in and sort of customize a path that works for you. And it's really great that you have the support of faculty and of your peers to do other things like research or just get some extra guidance when you're figuring out that path for yourself. Arcadia also has a lot going on outside of the classroom. I know our students mentioned a few of the things that they're involved with already, and I'll probably have them talk a little bit more in depth about that in just a second, but kind of a brief overview for you of things that you can look forward to at Arcadia. If anyone's interested in athletics, we are a Division III school, NCAA Division III. We're in the Mid-Atlantic Conference, so I'm sure Chris can talk a little bit more about that and how that kind of works with him as a student athlete. But we have about 26 Division III teams, so there's a lot to choose from if there's sports that you're doing now in high school that you want to continue with. We also do about 15 intramural sports throughout the year, so if you're looking to just kind of stay active and have fun, you can do any of our intramural sports that take place right on campus, just with some friends. We do little tournaments throughout the year right on campus where you can partake in any of those. We also have about 60 different student organizations, so there's a lot of different clubs that you can also be a part of through Arcadia. And we do an activities fair every semester on campus during the first week of classes to kind of get students engaged and see what's out there, what you might want to join. One of my biggest pieces of advice for students is always to just sign up for a bunch of different email lists and then kind of go from there and see what you might want to stick with or might be more interested in. There's a lot to choose from, and even if you don't see something that specifically fits an area of interest that you have, it's relatively easy to start your own organization. You just need about 5 or so other students, including yourself, that have a shared interest, and you can work with our student government and student activities office to get that off the ground for you. But I know you're all super involved, our students, so I want to kind of turn it over to you. If you could just talk a little bit about some of the clubs that you're involved in, any of any cool experiences that you've had or memorable experiences getting involved on campus. Maybe Shannon, we can start with you.
So as I touched on in my introduction, I'm a part of Arcadia FTK. It stands for the kids. We raise money all year long throughout the fundraisers. Right now, since we're not on campus, we're doing like a catalog fundraiser online to try and still raise money. Last year, we were able to raise over $8,000. So that went right to the Four Diamonds, and it helps families in need with children who are being treated at Penn State Children's Hospital. And then, like I said, I'm also an ambassador. So we work events across campus, we give tours, and we work information sessions like this. And I'm also a student assistant in the College of Health Sciences. And so that kind of just helps me get my foot in the door with the physician assistant program.
Awesome. Brenda, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're involved with?
Yes, so I won't talk too much about ambassadors since Shannon already touched on that. I am also a peer mentor. So what that means is I sit in on a first-year seminar course. All first-year students at Arcadia take a first-year seminar course, and those can range in any sort of topic. And my role is essentially to make sure that those first-year students are having a good time transitioning into college and connect them to whatever resources they may need. And I am also a peer educator for the Office of Sexual Violence Prevention and Education. And basically that is partnered with counseling services, and we just help educate people about sexual health and their own mental health as well. So lots of cool stuff.
Awesome. Chris, do you want to add anything? Maybe you can talk a little bit about athletics too.
Yeah, so I feel like from my past experience that being a Division III athlete is is the ideal environment. If you want to succeed academically, at least from my own experience. Because with a Division III school, it allows you to perfectly balance athletics and academics because you're a student first and an athlete second. But it still allows me to pursue one of my athletic passions and meet some of my closest friends for the sport and compete and stay healthy, while at the same time allowing me to continue a pretty vigorous academic schedule. Some people even more rigorous than mine, yet they're still able to handle it. And it's just been definitely one of the highlights of my time at Arcadia so far. And I've even participated in intramural sports as well. In the off season, I participated in intramural volleyball, and that was a lot of fun to play. So maybe if I'm a student that's not necessarily ready to go all in with a Division III sport, intramural is also definitely a viable option. And as you've heard, the other ambassadors mentioned, a lot of the stuff we're involved in is also jobs, but we talk about them like they're clubs, because a lot of the jobs on campus kind of just have their own little community to them as well, which is just really awesome. The ambassador community is definitely very strong. I also work as a tutor in our learning resource network, and the tutor community, it feels like its own little family as well. So that's just even if you're in a club or just working at a job, there's still such a strong sense of community you gain getting involved in these kinds of things.
Thank you all. Yeah, definitely. I just want to kind of highlight the fact that a lot of the things that our students mentioned, some of them are clubs and organizations or sports, but there is so much other opportunity to get involved on campus and to find your path outside of the classroom, doing things that you're passionate about or of interest to. So whether you're in a mentorship capacity or another leadership capacity on campus, there's a lot of opportunity for that, and for work study positions as well, where you can get paid. Almost every department on campus has some sort of work study opportunity for students, whether it's being an assistant in an office, or giving campus tours or tutoring students or whatever it might be. There's a lot of opportunity there as well. Because Arcadia is a largely residential school, we do guarantee housing in a typical year for all 4 years, which is really great because it just kind of allows for us to build a little bit more community, having the majority of students living on campus and spending their time on campus. And that's why all of these different opportunities kind of encourage students to find their niche within the space that they're spending the majority of their time. So definitely, as you're going through the college search, wherever you're looking, look for those opportunities outside of academics as well, where you can find yourself and kind of see yourself getting involved with. And another really great highlight I think about Arcadia is our location. So I mentioned earlier that we're located in Glenside, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb, but just outside of Philadelphia. So I think it's a really great kind of best of both worlds environment. Being in that suburb, if you're looking for that kind of smaller school, a little closer knit community, you'll definitely find that at Arcadia, but we also have really easy access to the big city of Philadelphia. So right off campus and walking distance from Arcadia, we have Glenside. The downtown Glenside area is only about a 5-minute walk to lots of different shops and restaurants. We have a village called Keswick Village that has a theater and some other really great shops there, which is about maybe a 15-20-minute walk from campus. And then our Glenside train station is right in town as well, which takes students right into Center City, Philadelphia, about a 20 to 30-minute train ride, depending on what stop you're getting off at in the city, which is really, really great for academic purposes as well as for social purposes. We really utilize Philadelphia for as an academic tool. If there's maybe a museum exhibit or something going on in the city that's relevant to course material. Maybe you're looking for an internship opportunity or even a job after you graduate. There's plenty of connections there in Philadelphia for students to go out and use the city as a tool for their education. And a lot of our professors try and get students off campus too through different coursework. But also it's just a really great city to be in and to have fun in. So we try and sponsor a lot of different off-campus events into Philly when we can, and try and get students out there. If there's a show in Center City that maybe students want to see. Last fall, before everything shut down, we had the National Tour of Hamilton, the musical, come through, and we were able to raffle off some tickets and give away some subsidized cost tickets there. We'll send students to different sporting events in Philly, like Phillies games, Sixers games, at a discounted cost. So we really try and utilize our location to a student's benefit. Or even if you're just kind of going out on the weekend and exploring yourself. Maybe our students can touch on some of their favorite things to do either in Glenside or the surrounding area or in Philadelphia. Anyone can kind of jump in.
Yeah, so oh, sorry, Shannon, you can go.
No, you can go, it's all right.
Okay. Yeah, so like I am a big foodie. Like I am super into like really amazing restaurants, whether it's like eat in or take out or whatever. And there's definitely a lot of options like in the immediate Glenside area and in Philadelphia. Like some of my favorite places in the Glenside area. I mean, we have Michael's Diner like right across the street, which is like open like late at night. Well, yeah, it's normally open late at night on the weekends, and like they have the best fries. Then you have the Keswick Tavern, which has amazing wings. And then Humpty's Dumplings is a student favorite. We often like get their dumplings catered like for a lot of school events, and they're absolutely delicious. And then in the Philly, of course, like Philly is such a major like food hub of the country. There's just so many places you can go to eat there. And yeah, I also just love like with Philly, I love like the amount of like museums that we have access to in the city as well. Whether it's like the PMA, which is just a fantastic resource for art students, for people who just want to just like see some art, as long as other galleries and stuff. There's like a wealth of resources related to art in the Philly area.
Awesome. Shannon, you want to go next? I know you were going to say something too.
Touching on what Chris said, like being a foodie, this is definitely the area you want to live in. There's so many different food options. And like you said, with Humpty's Dumplings, it's a big thing on Wednesdays because they do dollar dumplings. So many Arcadia students go there to get their dumplings. And then me and my roommate, we like to go to this little place called Chestnut Hill. It's another small town about 10 minutes away from Arcadia. There's little boutiques, more restaurants to eat at. We really like our coffee and little pastries. So there's little coffee shops there that we enjoy going to.
Awesome. Brenda, did you want to add anything?
I mean, Chris kind of stole everything I was going to say. I love Humpty's Dumplings. Another shout out to Queen Sushi and Jasmine Chinese Food. Those places are great. And Keswick Coffee House is amazing. And there's a new juice bar right next to it, which is also amazing. I live like 20 minutes from Glenside, so anytime I'm in the area, I'll just go and I'll stop at all my favorite places. But it's definitely great for food. Definitely great for arts, also performing arts. I am a big fan of theater, and there are a bunch of theaters that you can access. If you go just to the Glenside train station, you can take them down into the city and walk to wherever theater you're looking for. There's improv shows, there's musicals, really anything that you're looking for. So it's a really great area to be in.
Definitely. And a lot of places in the area, whether you're immediately in Glenside or in Philadelphia, a lot of places offer student discounts. Some in the immediate area are specific to Arcadia students. A lot of places in Philly offer just any sort of college student discount if you present your ID, or if you go to school in kind of the greater Philadelphia area, they might offer you discounts. So they try and make it affordable, especially for college students, to be able to get out and go explore the area. So definitely something to keep in mind. Is kind of that nice dual environment that we have, even though we are in the suburbs. So the next thing I want to touch on, which is kind of a big piece to the Arcadia education, is our study abroad and our global opportunities. We offer a lot of different pathways for students to get a global education at Arcadia, and it's really sort of a foundation of who Arcadia is as an institution. We require all students to get some sort of global experience, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're required to study abroad. We do have some courses on campus that offer a global component to them through some sort of community engagement or topics that explore things around the globe. But one of the best ways that you can get a global education is by participating in one of our study abroad programs. And there are a lot of different pathways, like I said, that can be anywhere from a short term, a week to 2 weeks, or a long term, a full semester, or even an entire academic year that students can spend abroad. Whatever your comfortability level is and your interest in study abroad is, we can probably find a program that works for you. And the majority of our students, you'll see on this slide, do study abroad at least once, about 76%. And we do have a really large global footprint. Our last graduating class of 2020 earned credit from about 39 different countries. And we offer programs that start right from your first year where you're able to get that study abroad experience. There's 2 programs in the first year. The first one that we offer is called FISI, or the First Year Study Abroad Experience. That is, if you're really interested in study abroad and ready to kind of hit the ground running, that's actually a full semester that we send about 40 to 60 students on each spring. They go to London, England, and study at the Arcadia Center there for the entire spring semester of their first year. So if you're really interested in study abroad and you want to kind of do that right off the bat, that's something to keep in mind. We also offer something else called Spring Preview, which is a little bit less of a commitment and more of a shorter term experience and that one's open to any first year student to participate in. So I always encourage students, even if you're not going to do any other study abroad experience, Preview is really one that I encourage you to take advantage of if you can. It's a 2-credit course that you take in your spring semester of your first year, where you get to study an aspect related to a different country. And then over your spring break, you actually get to travel to whatever country that you've been studying. So it's just that week-long trip, and you go with your whole class and your professors. And you get to have a lot of really unique hands-on experiences in country based on what you've been learning in the class the whole semester leading up to it. And Preview is only about $595, and it covers pretty much everything included in the trip: your airfare, your housing, some of your meals while you're there, and any excursions that you take throughout the country is all covered by that fee. I know for a lot of students, Preview tends to be the first time that they're out of the country, or one of the first times that they're doing sort of an academic component to leaving the country. So it's a really nice way to kind of get a gateway into study abroad. It's exactly what it sounds like, a preview into study abroad. And so I want to ask, I know our students, has anyone been on FISI? Any of our students? Chris, so Chris, you want to talk about FISI, and then our other students can maybe talk about Preview if you did it.
Yeah, so I participated in FISI in the spring of 2018, which feels like forever ago. But that was my first time studying abroad, and I was definitely a little bit nervous at first going into it. My parents more so than me, but there's such a great support system, both like at home at Arcadia University and at the London Center, to help me feel like safe and secure and like comfortable with the process and like the transition from studying in the U.S. to studying in a foreign country. That has definitely been like one of my favorite experiences I've ever had, so far throughout college. Sorry, my phone's going off. And it was just like there was like so many opportunities to you able to meet with people felt like students like that from foreign universities. I did that through a running club I participated in. The classes really get you out and about in the city, and I took a class called London City of Art, where pretty much you go to a different museum like every week, and and we get to talk about museum curation and stuff, and that really got me a chance to see the city. And yeah, it was also a great moment of independence for me as well. So it really helped me really to learn to be self-sufficient. And it was a really great growing up experience for me.
Great, thanks, Chris. Rende, did you do preview?
I did preview. I also did a semester abroad, but for preview, I went to Austria. It was a course about culture and music in Austria. So we spent most of the week in Vienna, and we did an overnight in Salzburg. So we saw a Mozart opera completely in German. We toured the State Opera House. We of course had plenty of downtime. We did the Sound of Music tour. It was absolutely incredible. And I would highly recommend. That course is not offered anymore, sadly, but preview as an experience, definitely recommend.
Awesome. And what about you, Shannon? Have you done any?
Yeah, so I also participated in preview. Rende, I actually was really hoping that Austria was still going when I got here, but I took a course in London leadership, so I learned about how their government works, like Prime Minister, everything like that, and then we went away to London for a week, and we actually got to visit Parliament and like go inside and tour Parliament, which not many people ever get to do, but we got to do it because a lot of interns who are there working in Parliament actually they go to Arcadia. So there was someone over there at the time, and he was able to get us in, and we were able to tour Parliament, which was really, really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. The preview trip, for those listening, is there's usually about 15 different preview courses offered each year. So some of the classes and the locations stay the same each year. So we usually offer some in London, France, Italy, some other places in Europe, but then we rotate some other ones we've sent students to India, China, Vietnam, Ethiopia. So lots of different opportunities to kind of see different places that you might not get the chance to otherwise. And something that Shannon touched on actually, and I'll let our students talk about the other semesters abroad that they might have done in a second, but we also offer internships abroad for students. So if you're looking to get more of a hands-on professional development experience while you're studying abroad, we have students in a lot of different countries completing an internship. And one of those options is a parliamentary internship that we offer in London. And I also believe in Ireland, we have students that intern with Parliament. So it's a really cool opportunity to kind of see how government systems work in other countries. Or if you wanted to intern with a nonprofit or a community organization, you can do that both locally or abroad as well. But Rende, do you want to talk about your semester in London? I know you were there not too long ago.
Yes, I was in London in this past spring, which sadly got cut short because of COVID-19. But all before that, it was absolutely amazing. I was on the internship program also. So my internship was with a nonprofit organization called LGBT Hero, and they focused on mental health and sexual health work with LGBT youth. And it was really awesome. And I got to write articles for their website, and it was really cool. So now I'm a published writer for a nonprofit in the UK, which is awesome. I also took the course that Chris mentioned, London City of Art, which was great. And the city in general is absolutely amazing, and I would definitely recommend even just traveling there for a week.
Yeah, we have about 10 different Arcadia centers around the globe, centers and offices around the globe. And the London Center is our biggest one. So it's a very popular location for students to study in. But students can spend semesters abroad at any of the places where we have an Arcadia Center, or even other countries where we have partnerships with other institutions. So you're not only limited to those locations, but those tend to be our most popular locations because it's all Arcadia kind of faculty and staff. And at those centers that we have, they're really able to utilize the locations that you're in a little bit more for your education. So a lot of the courses really integrate the cities that you're studying in, like that London City of Art class. When I was a student, I took a class called A Walking History of London, and we learned about history while we took walking tours of different neighborhoods in the city, which was really cool. So a lot of different opportunities there to kind of explore a location through your academics too. but we spent a lot of time on study abroad, so I want to move on with the little bit of time that we have left. And I just want to switch gears a little bit and talk more specifically about the admissions and the financial aid processes, since those are kind of next steps for students. And definitely feel free to chat in any questions, like I said earlier, if there's anything you would like to know more about. But as kind of an overview for you about the admissions process with Arcadia, we are on a rolling admissions cycle, which means that we don't really have really hard deadlines that you need to keep in mind throughout the admissions process. We've been accepting applications since August, and we'll continue reviewing them all throughout the year, academic year, into next summer. So you can really apply at any time, though I always encourage students to apply in the fall if you can. We'll have a decision for you in about 2 to 3 weeks of when you submit an application, regardless of the time of year that you apply. So it's a pretty quick turnaround time. In order to have your application be considered complete and get your review started, you need to submit an application through either the Common App or our Arcadia online application. You'll have to submit a high school transcript and then a letter of recommendation from either a teacher or a guidance counselor. And then we have a few optional credentials. So we did make the decision to switch to become a test optional institution. So you're no longer required to submit your SAT or ACT scores for admission to Arcadia. If you choose not to submit your SAT or ACT scores, I actually think I have it up here. On our website, we have about 4 different supplemental materials that you can choose from to submit in lieu of your test scores. You only have to select one of these options, but you can submit an essay, a video, a portfolio, or do an interview with us, which will become available later this month. And those 4 options really just give an opportunity for students to kind of highlight your strengths in other areas outside of just test scores. And, you know, especially with COVID, tests are being canceled pretty frequently. But also, even in a normal year, we know that testing is not always everyone's strong suit, and that the numbers from those tests don't always accurately reflect your ability. So those 4 options kind of give you an alternative to be able to highlight your strengths to us on the admissions team. When you apply to the university, it's a very holistic review, so we really do look at each piece. I would say your transcript is definitely really the most important piece because it highlights your academics over a longer period of time. But we really look at things like your recommendation, your extracurriculars, and those supplemental materials to make a more accurate decision about if you can be a successful student at Arcadia. And we also automatically review you for scholarships when you apply to the institution, and there can be a range of scholarships anywhere from about $10,000 to $25,000 that we review you for when you apply. So you'll receive an admissions decision from us as well as a scholarship decision from us when you submit your application materials. If anyone is interested in one of our BFA programs in either studio art or in acting and musical theater, you'd be required, in addition to your application materials, to do a portfolio review or an acting audition to get approved by those specific departments for admission as well. And all that information about those processes is all on our website, so you can find all that there. It looks like we have a question. Is there a veterinary program or a pre-med leading to veterinary? Yes, great question. So we do have both a pre-med track for students and a pre-vet track for students. So those programs, for those programs, students would come in as typically a science major, biology or something similar, chemistry, and be on the pre-vet or pre-med track. Though you're not limited to a science major, you can really major in anything and be on a pre-med or pre-vet track. But what that will do is, as you're completing course requirements for your major, you'll also be completing prerequisite course requirements that most med schools or vet schools will typically be looking for. And you'll have an advisor within your major as well as the pre-vet or pre-med track who will kind of help you coordinate your schedule and make sure that you're hitting on all the major requirements as well as the prereqs for those programs. Shannon, I think you mentioned you're on the pre-PA track, correct? Do you want to just talk a little bit about that because it's kind of similar to pre-med?
Yeah, sure. So I came into Arcadia as a biology major mainly because the prerequisites that I need to get into physician assistant school line up with the biology major. You can take whatever courses you want to. So like I took a public health course and other things that I don't always have to just stick to all the bio courses. But make sure you do your research before choosing your major. Make sure you are following along with what those prerequisites are. And some of them also, you need to have what they call like patient hours. So to get into physician assistant school, I need 200 patient hours. So over the summer, I worked as a rehabilitation aide. So I had one-on-one care time with my patients.
Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, so for those, all those different tracks, we offer, PT, PA, pre-med, pre-vet, pre-dentistry, all of those. And they typically line up best if you do a science major, but we can work it out for students to do other majors as well. I also just wanted to quickly touch on some of our other academic programs that we offer. In addition to what your traditional, academic major would be, we have some other programs that you can either be reviewed for or apply into as part of the admissions process. And these programs are co-curricular, meaning that they're in addition to your major. And they can offer both academic, extracurricular experiences through the programs. We have a variety of them. They're all cohort-based programs, which means that you kind of go through the process of these programs with a group of other students who sort of have a shared interest in whatever topic that you're studying. So, for example, our honors program is pretty focused on leadership development. We have a college to career scholars program through our Office of Career Education that focuses on professional development and career building skills that you kind of go through with a cohort of other students. Our Civic Scholars program is focused on civic engagement and social change. So if you're interested in, more broadly different topics of social justice, that might be an opportunity for you as well. So you'll be hearing about all these different programs as you're kind of moving through the admissions process with us, but they're really great ways for you to kind of find another community within the larger Arcadia community and kind of have different experiences that complement your academic path that you're already on. We just have a few minutes left, so I did want to just kind of talk about some things that are upcoming at Arcadia as well. On our website, I know things are a little bit weird with the college search starting right now, and a lot of times you're not able to visit the institutions that you're necessarily applying to. Arcadia is doing some select in-person visits, so if you are interested in potentially visiting Arcadia in person, you're welcome to sign up for a tour on our website, arcadia.edu/visit, which is on this slide here. And then we do have a couple virtual open houses coming up as well this month and next month that will give you the opportunity to meet more current students, meet faculty from your department of interest, and a variety of other opportunities to learn more about Arcadia. But we also do have a virtual tour up on our website, which is what this slide is. And this really is a great way to kind of get an overview of campus and kind of check out what campus looks like if you're not able to come in person. I just have one of the slides pulled up, but you can kind of do a whole 360 tour of campus and see what it's like. There's videos, audio, some images throughout. You can see our castle, which is kind of a highlight of Arcadia, is up on the hill. And then campus is kind of a big loop around. So definitely encourage you to check out our website for some of those overviews and different tour options that you might be able to participate in. Before we end, I just want to kind of thank you all for being here and listening for the past 40 minutes or so. And I also just wanted to kind of pose a final question to our students to leave you with, and just kind of ask if you could say what's your favorite thing about Arcadia, or maybe share a highlight of your Arcadia experience for our students listening. Whoever wants to go first can jump in.
I guess I would say what. I guess one of my one of my favorite parts about Arcadia is just like the versatility of the university. Being a liberal arts school, it allows you to take classes in a wide variety of different fields, like a lot of them outside your own major of study, which ended up being one of the main reasons why I ended up going to Arcadia. I was initially looking at a lot of just primarily art schools, but then I found Arcadia, and I saw they had a great art program, but by also going to Arcadia, I'd be able to take classes in marketing, which is also another passion I have, and also that's a very useful minor for my graphic design major. And also just I've taken numerous classes even outside business that I've enjoyed and have helped me in other ways. I've taken there's a seminar class called Rethinking Children's Animated Films, and that's allowed me to pretty much write a bunch of essays and analyses on like animated films. And that was just a really fun class. And also, like, I'm knocked out some requirements I needed as well. So there's a really great variety to the education. It also allowed me to like compete in athletics as well, and study abroad twice. Even though we talk a long time about study abroad, but I also studied abroad this past spring in Sydney, Australia, as a part of our internship program. So yeah, there's just like there's so many possibilities and pathways that you can take at Arcadia, and like I've been incredibly grateful for that, because that's like not only just like allowed me to meet all different kinds of people, but like will help me be incredibly job ready once I eventually get out into the workforce after I graduate.
Thanks, Chris. Rende, do you want to go next?
Sure. I really love Arcadia because it's so community-based, and that was one of the things that drew me to Arcadia, since when I did my college search, I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I really did feel at home the second I came to campus. So that is probably the biggest thing for me, but also there are so many opportunities for you to thrive academically, personally, and professionally, through leadership opportunities, through clubs, through internships, through whatever. And I really value my Arcadia education for all of those things.
Wonderful, thanks. And Shannon?
Well, Chris and Rende basically said it all, but I definitely agree. The community of Arcadia, I absolutely love. Walking around campus, everyone saying hello to you, forming so many different types of relationships. Being an ambassador, we are like a family, and then I have my Arcadia FTK club, and we're also like a family. So it's really nice to have all those different relationships.
Awesome. Well, I couldn't have said it better. And since we are at the 45-minute mark, I think that's a good place to end. But I just want to thank everyone for joining us. And definitely feel free to sign up for anything that we're hosting on our website. We'd love to have you come back and meet with us some more and learn some more about Arcadia. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, and thank you, Arcadia, for a great presentation. Thank you to all the participants as well. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so just make sure you sign up for additional sessions at njacac.org/virtual-fair. And in about a week, you'll be able to find the session's recording as well as all the other recordings at njacac.org/virtual-fair. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.